Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We're going to talk a little bit about another subject which is very, very important, and that's shoes and everything to do with the feet. Okay, your feet are very, very important, and it's very, very important that you protect them. And how you do that is by several things. One thing is how you walk, what you put on your feet, and that is like when it comes to insulation, socks, and what shoes you use for the right kind of job you're going to use them for. A lot of people make the mistake of buying a really nice pair of 300, 400, 500 buck pair of shoes, and they wear cotton socks with them. The problem with that is the cotton, we have an expression that says cotton kills. And what it does is it holds on to the the humidity in your feet. And believe it or not, you sweat about 2.5 cups of sweat per day just in your feet. So how do you get around all that? Well, use the right shoes for the right job. If you're going to go for day hikes in the summer, or even, day hikes, something that's not going to fatigue you too much, then it's good to have a pair of shoes like these right here are some Sportivas that I have. They're mine. They're very lightweight. I just use these right here for a 10-day hike in the mountains, but it wasn't the high mountains. It was the foothills like on the Jura. And these did a really great job. I never had sweaty feet, and I didn't have any problem with blisters. And I wore them with some low quarter socks, like what you have here. Now, these are from Smart Wool, and anytime I go around or I see a pair of Smart Wool socks, I buy them usually and they're not cheap. They're not 10 bucks. They're probably around 29 bucks, 25 bucks. But they last almost forever, and these right here are great socks. And how I take care of them, I wash them in cold water and I let them air dry. So, but I carry several pairs with me, and this summer I used these for a 10-day outing I went on, and I used these shoes right here. Didn't have any problem with the mud or in the rain, although because they're a mesh shoe right here, which are very, very open, I did have a lot of dust that got into them. So I found myself having to kick out the dust every once in a while, but they worked very, very well. And so that's something you have to be careful of and be aware of, and that is the right shoes for the right project or for the right mission. If you're going to go like right now, if I did the same hike, I would wear this pair of shoes or another pair of shoes like it. These are Sportivas, La Sportivas also, which I happen to like. They have a larger footbed in them for my feet. I have wide feet. And these are Gore-Tex shoes. So they breathe. They have a Gore-Tex membrane inside of them. Another reason why I like Sportivas is because of the wide footbed, but also because of the shock. They're a really good footbed that has a lot more protection against shock, so my feet are much more comfortable. And they have a very good cleat system on it, which gives you that protection when you're walking across muddy surfaces, this kind of stuff. So this I can recommend for day hikes, or even if you're doing just like I said, more flatland hiking or whatever. These are not technical. These are perfect for that, okay? Once you start getting more technical, you start getting up and you're going on day hikes up in the mountains where it's more technical routes, then you need yourself something that offers a lot more protection, actually. And here's actually the Hex Scout shoe. It's a good lightweight leather boot. It does have it's a membrane. It's a Gore-Tex boot. It does have a nylon system. It's a mix for the weight, but they're very, very comfortable. I've used these right here in the wintertime, in the snow, and in the summertime, if I do any kind of technical stuff, this is the boot I'll go to. It offers me more protection. More protection. It's a 6-inch height on it, so it protects my ankles and this kind of stuff much better, actually. You want to get rid of that, but. Sounds like a bomb about to go off in here. We have a timer on right now. Anyway, so this is what I can recommend. Now, if you're going to go, another thing you have to be careful of and be wary of with your shoes, and that's keeping them, keeping them dry. And I use something like this right here. It's called a swell well. It's basically a little bag Smells very good, has a very nice smell to it. It takes the smell out of them, but it takes out the humidity from your boot also. And when you're storing your boots, take the insoles out of them and, you know, put these aside. Now, I've had these insoles for a long time. They're very comfortable insole. I need to replace them. But these are very, very good insoles for boots, and they offer me all the shock I need, shock resistance I need for my shoes. Luckily, the Sportiva also has a very good insole inside them. Not all shoes come with good insoles. That's the problem also. So it's important to have a look into that. And if you need some orthopedic insoles, get them. Okay, something that fits really good for your feet that you can put inside of whatever shoes you're wearing. Be aware, if you get something that's too high, too thick of an insole, it'll raise your heel up, and you can have problems with blisters and this kind of stuff. So be aware of that. And be aware of your socks. So I always wear a smart wool or a merino wool sock. These are all merino wool socks here, except for this last pair. This is a heavy wool sock. Actually, it's a U.S. Air Force issue. We got them when I was in the Army, and we'd wear these in extreme cold. But you got to be aware that because of the thickness of this, it's going to change the size of your foot. So you got to be careful that you're not running around with a smaller boot afterwards. So you would need to have a thicker sock for that. Back in the Army, we were using a pair of boots called Chippewas, which basically was a leather boot with the old school footbed and system for how it was built, and a heavy lug sole for the mountains, and even had the insole was horsehair, so instant pain. The boots never broke in, and but they had plenty of room inside them, so you had to wear thick socks. Also have these right here are a mixed wool synthetic sock right here. And these are very comfortable right here. They're a little bit thicker, but I tend to not wear these on hikes and stuff. I'll wear, if I need a longer sock, I'll get myself these smart wools right here, which go up about mid-calf right here, and they're very, very good. And that's more for the winter time, and in the summertime I'll use these right here. But use the right socks for the right shoes for the right job you're going to do. If you're going to go to the high mountains, extremely technical, you're going to need a boot that's even more made for that. That's built better for using with snowshoes or with hiking skis, or what they call ski underneath here. And so that way you'll need a shoe that has inside the footbed a much more stable support system built into it. That way, in that shoe, you'll see it won't flex. This shoe actually flexes right here. So for me, this is a much better, and I don't do so much of that anymore. And so, but this shoe right here works very, very well for that. Be careful wearing your Army boots, this kind of stuff. A lot of them are they're just the old school stuff they're not really water resistant. Usually people put a lot of more products on them, so they get very heavy with products, and like if you put a lot of wax on it or whatever. So be careful, be aware of that. So when it comes to shoes, like I said, and I'll keep saying it over and over again in this video, the right shoe for the right job. Okay, if you're going to go technical hiking and camping or whatever it is in the high mountains, you're going to need the right boot for that. These kind of shoes right here, I don't recommend them. There are people who do use this kind of stuff, but they're not using it for the technical routes, that kind of stuff. They're using it for the man-made routes that are already up there. And if they're going for several days, the reason why you want a higher up boot is to protect your ankles a little better. I have bad ankles. I broke them several times, so I have to have something for the more technical stuff. But like I said, for day hikes, even week-long hikes, like here, we have several kinds of possibilities for that. I use a low quarter shoe because it's much more comfortable, much lighter. I have to be aware of my knees, this kind of stuff too. And that's another factor, the weight of your shoes. If your knees can't handle it, you got to find something that your knees can handle. And another thing to talk about is our gaiters. Okay, now you have loads of types of gaiters that exist. You have much lower gaiters, actually just basically made to keep the dust out of your upper shoes. Those work great. A lot of people who do cross-country running, this kind of stuff, they wear them. And if you're hiking and you have snow or you have a lot of humidity in the grass, this kind of stuff, gaiters will keep your lower leg nice and dry also. Matter of fact, I tend to wear a pair of gaiters more than I would a pair of waterproof pants, because the gaiters will keep my lower legs warm and also keep it dry, and I need to be able to expel that humidity from somewhere, so the upper part of my pants allow me to do that. So but anyway, and let's talk a little bit about what this stuff's made of. Now, you have different types of fabrication when it comes to boots. You have some that are sewn. This is more of the old school stuff, very, very resistant, heavy look soled boots, and you have a lot more of what it's a vamp that's been glued on. And so these boots right here, these shoes right here are all glued on vamps. You're not going to be able to, you could probably, but I wouldn't suggest replacing it after a time. It's best just to use them for something else and replace them with something else. But be very aware. You know, you buy a pair of shoes like here, keep them clean, keep them when you get home, clean your stuff up really well, and wear the right socks in them so it adds to the life of the shoe. Cotton sock will damage the inside of it, and nothing fun like having a hole in the heel of your shoe or on the sides of your foot on the inside. I've had this happen to me before. Buy a nice pair of $200 pair of shoes, and within 3 months they're finished. Another thing is the weight that you carry. It's going to also little by little destroy the footbed also. So just be aware of that. So when you're looking for shoes, price is very important, but also the quality. I mean, I've had these for several years. These right here are a couple years old also, and they do exactly what I need them to do. Now, these all leather shoes right here, when you protect them, clean them off, let them dry out really well, take the insoles out of them, you know, let them dry out for a couple of days. Once they've dried out, put a product on it that's going to help to feed the leather, help keep it soft and supple, and keep it in good condition. That way you don't have any cracks or any tears in the leather. These other shoes, basically you can pretty much just clean them off and keep them nice and clean and dry the same way. Take the insoles out of them, let them dry out. And you can wash these sometimes the outside. You wash them with soap and water. That's not going to be a problem. It's just a matter of letting them dry out afterwards and allow them to and then put feed them with the right kind of products. And never put grease on your shoes. A lot of people make the mistake. They'll grease their boots. They'll put like some kind of a product, especially what I see here in Switzerland. The Swiss Army, they issued these young men a pair of boots, the old black heavy lug boots, and they're not too heavy in the very beginning, but by the time they finish their basic training, those boots weigh a ton because they give them a grease to put on it. The boots are broken in, finely broken in, they're comfortable, the guys are not getting any blisters in them, but they weigh a ton because the grease also holds on to all the humidity, they never dry out, it's very heavy. And yeah, sure, the boot is more waterproof, but it's holding that humidity inside. It's not allowed to dry out. I suggest you use another product, other products like not a grease, but use a wax, like beeswax or something like that. You can put that on your boot, and that'll breathe. That works naturally with the weather, and it's a natural product from the bees actually. So use that, and it'll protect your leather much better. Not just your boots, but everything else. When it comes to Gore-Tex stuff, this is a pair of Gore-Tex Gators right here. These are actually the British Army issue Gore-Tex Gators, the old school ones. I've had these for many years. They work fantastic. As you can see on the inside of them, it's the old Gore-Tex. So these right here, you basically just brush off with a light brush any kind of soil on it. You can wash it with a light soap and water, rinse it off, let it dry out, and then exists some sprays like from knee waxes you can spray on it that'll help recondition the Gore-Tex. And like I said, again with the socks, wash them in cold water with a mild soap, let them air dry. And if you need to change the insoles of your boots or your shoes, buy new insoles to put in them. Be careful with a lot of the gel ones because they're very heavy. And like I said, even the ones that they come with aren't the greatest insoles in the world. But it's good to have a good pair of orthopedic type insoles that form better to your feet. They also stand up your arch. And it's another thing when it comes to comes to feet. Let's talk about your feet a little bit. How do we want to protect your feet? How do we want to protect you? You got the right boot. That's important. You got the right sock. That's important. But your level of fitness is also important. Okay. And if you get tired very quickly, you have a better chance of turning an ankle, okay? So you need to work on your fitness level when it comes to hiking and start little by little, you know, getting out there, little by little hiking and strengthening your lower legs, your upper legs, your body, but also your ankles and stuff. I have very weak ankles from just breaking them a lot, so I have to be very, very careful. Another problem you have is that the falling of the arch in your shoe and your foot. So it's important to find an insole that actually puts a little bit of pressure, that raises that arch up, so you don't have your foot turning down. And the problem with that would be is that affects your back, that affects your hips, and your leg, and your stride, and everything. When you're in good fitness, also be careful of how you walk. Don't walk like a duck. Try to walk by rolling your feet. Be careful where you're putting your feet, this kind of stuff. And what that will mean, that also helps strengthen and make it much more comfortable. It takes a little while to get into the hook of it. I do a good bit of hiking myself. I don't do enough as I'd like, but I do. The other morning I hiked. I didn't know it. I hiked 8 kilometers from 5:30 to 7 o'clock the other morning. I wore these shoes right here. And when I got back, my legs were completely just worn out because I was hiking at a very fast pace. And yeah, so it took me a little. It was a good fast hike, but I felt it when I got back. So another thing you can use that could help you also when you're hiking are the walking sticks. And I just saw a video yesterday of a guy complaining about his sticks were too small or too tall. No, too tall. And actually, when he stood there with the sticks in his hand, the way you measure them, your arm should be in an L shape, and then that's where your hand placement on the stick should arrive. That's the perfect size. You don't want them too high, and you don't want them too low. And he was complaining that they were too low or something like that. And I was like, man, your walking sticks are perfect. But a lot of people don't really understand that and know that. So get you a good pair of walking sticks to help you. It helps in your exercise, but it also helps to protect you as you're hiking, so that you don't turn your ankle. You're less likely to turn your ankle. So these are a few things to think about also. But anyway, this is a quick video. I guess it's quick. I don't know how long it's been, but on shoes. There's a lot of shoes out there. It's very personal. It's important that when you do size your shoes, take the insole out of them. I'm going to show this right here because I've been selling shoes for 25 years. Put your finger right there, okay, at the very tip. It's about 1 centimeter, and your toe should not pass this. It should arrive just at this, or maybe a little bit less, but arrive at this right here. That allows for your sock, and then which you should be using the socks you're going to walk into when you size your shoes. But it also allows for your swelling of your feet. Your feet are going to swell. And another thing you can do is you can actually take a knee, bend your foot in it, and if your foot hits the toe of the shoe, it's too small. Okay, so be very aware about the sizing of your shoes. Don't get something that's too narrow or too wide, so your feet are moving around in it, or too pinched up inside of it. You know, you want to wear them not tight. You don't want to have this too tight across your foot. That'll cause swelling. You'll have poor circulation. Your feet will swell up, and keep your feet clean. Keep them clean. Keep your toenails cut. If you need to use products on it, put products on it. I remember back in the day we used to put a lot of talcum powder on our feet. I'm not a fan of that. I just go out there with the right kind of socks, the right kind of shoes, and walk at a pace that's a good pace for me. If you're going to be out in nature, you know, I went hiking the other day. I did a speed hike, but it was completely dark. If you're going to go out in nature, take your time. Enjoy what's around you. Don't run through it unless you're trying to exercise. But like I said again, have the right shoes for the right job you're going to do. Anyway, if I missed anything, I do apologize. Let me know in the comments below. And if you have any questions or any comments, positive or negative, I look forward to hearing them, and I will definitely respond to them. And please give us a thumbs up and continue watching our videos, and check out our channel at Helvetia Bushcraft.ch. And I look forward to hearing from you. Have a good day. Goodbye.